Nicholas, welcome to LSI. Tell me a little bit about Medinbox.
So thank you very much to welcome me. So Medinbox, we are talking about medical collaboration, and at the beginning we start in medical education. We're coming from education, and education in surgery and medical practice is all about observation and being observed by peers, by experts. And we have created a tool to serve medical education with high quality expectation for large conferences, congresses. And then we moved to the other side of the proctoring and support by enabling medical teams to use the same tools, the same quality, to send their images to peers, to give guidance or advice during procedures.
So it's my understanding you guys were founded in 2010 and you're now in 300 different sites, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So we have started the company in 2010. I was running a business in audiovisual video production of medical content, educational content. And I sit with a public hospital in a private hospital in France, Clinique Pasteur, which is one of the most important in interventional cardiology and in the world of cardiology in general. It's where the pioneer started the technique in the 70s. On the production side, we had expectations in terms of quality, in terms of production, and Clinique Pasteur was looking for a tool to serve the doctors, to be easy to use with a limited footprint, and we decided to go together and create something. At the beginning, it was first and only for Clinique Pasteur and my audiovisual company, and then we have started naturally to expand the footprint. And we went to other centers in Europe, then in Middle East, in US, and now also in Asia Pacific with centers in Japan and Australia.
That's impressive. So Nicholas, tell me a little bit about the product. What does it look like when it's set up? What can a doctor expect to be using once you have it installed and set up?
So the product is a blend of hardware and software. We are not a hardware company. We are more a software company, but we want to keep the hand on the hardware. It's very important to be sure that where your software will be installed, the hardware will be powerful enough, will be with the quality of the camera will be good enough to produce the best content. So we have on one side a cart, we have a box, we have a portable system, so we are covering all different aspects. And then we have the software, we have multiple approaches. One is totally on-premise. So that means the medical team can decide to disconnect the internet and record the case locally or transmit the case internally in the hospital. So this is very important, and this is a huge difference with all the new players entering the business because it's a very it's in our DNA to be able to disconnect everything, and which is really important sometimes for privacy or some hospitals maybe don't want to do anything. Then we have the connected features. Medinbox is coming at the beginning for medical education, so we used to connect to satellite production at the beginning. We were in 2010. The network connections were not good enough to broadcast as today with the internet capacities. So we have the possibility to broadcast to almost everything. So it could be satellite, since we are not using it anymore, but it used to be used. But you can use any platform. It could be Zoom, Teams, or any professional platform used by the hospital or user. And then we have our Medinbox Link platform, which is our own cloud system, but with the same paradigm. I mean, all the production is done on premise. So you are not sending everything to the cloud to be processed, to be anonymized. Everything, all the anonymization and all the process is done locally at the hospital. So we are sure that we don't have any leaks of patient data. We keep also the hand on the quality. When you are recording a case, you are recording the case locally. You are not depending on the transmission. And of course, we have a synchronization between what is local and what is online. But this is this question should be answered by the user or by the center.
So it's my understanding that your technology actually talks to other devices in the operating room. For example, if you have an angiographic catheter, you can visualize it and capture that recording through yours. Is that a unique feature of your technology?
It's a kind of unique feature, yes. We can integrate a lot of imaging. And we are comfortable where you have a lot of imaging and in complex environment. And this is coming from the history of the company. Mm-hmm. I used to work in medical education, and I used to work for large conferences in interventional cardiology. And in this world, you cannot watch procedure without watching the angiography, the echo, the vitals of the patient. You need to see everything at the same time to be able to see the case in the full case, and to have a full view, which is very important. And you need to have a quality good enough to see what's happening on the angio. The angio, it's black and white, and you cannot have pixels like that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you will not be able to see a guide, you will not be able to see a catheter or a device. So we are integrating the maximum medical modalities, and we can integrate everything. We are totally agnostic, so we are not depending on specific hardware. We can basically connect to everything which provides an output.
So it sounds like you're really specialized in the cath lab right now. Are there other operating room types that you're really a great fit for with your technology?
So I felt in the cath lab when I was very young. And I had the chance to work with the pioneer in interventional cardiology, and I have in mind Jean Marco, which is one of the founders of the technology. Mm-hmm. And I was a young IT guy. I was CTO in a company, and I met with that guy, and he said, "You know what? I hate IT." I said, "Hello, thank you." And he said to me, "But you look like a good man, and I will consider to work with you if you can understand what I do." And I said, "Okay, what do you expect from me? So you will come, you will sit in my control room, you will watch every case, and when you will have in mind, when you will understand what I'm doing, we will work together." And this was very important because I understood why it is so important to have a good image. Why is it so important to see clearly what the surgeon is doing with his hands. So this was really the foundation of what became Medinbox after. And there's also a second event, and it was in 2005, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was working on a project with, it was with Medtronic. It was a program on treatment of acute MI. Mm-hmm. And we went to a center in Paris to record the case. I was with an entire TV crew, so like a TV set, so cameramans, audio engineers, mm-hmm. video producer, etc. And it's one of the biggest centers in Paris. They used to have a lot of acute MI during the weekend, and our objective was to record everything since the transfer of the patient and all the procedure and how to treat and what is the most efficient way to treat this, and to produce a documentary for a conference. So we set up everything in the lab, capture all the medical device, set up the camera, everything, and we we spent the weekend waiting a patient and no patient on this specific weekend. And at that time, I was discussing with doctors, and the question came from one doctor, and it was, is it possible to have not so much complicated setup, but something with a small footprint, easy to use, where we can just press a button and record the case? Mm-hmm. And I said, yes, why not? let's focus on that. And
that's the birthplace right there.
Yes, and where the idea came from, it was really a need from the medical team to be able to produce something and with a quality good enough to be used on a large conference, and after to build a database of cases.
So tell me a little bit about why your customers choose to work with you.
The customers are choosing us because we are the only ones offering an end-to-end solution. So we have both the hardware, both the software, we have the cloud platform, and we offer the full integration into a cath lab or an operating room. I mean, the footprint is the smallest, and the quality is the best. So using this balance, this is mostly why they are choosing us.
And then the customer is able to get a completely customized solution. So if they need multiple OR setup, or let's say they need 6 cameras, this is all configurable on their end. They can just come to you guys, and you guys are completely adaptable to this. It doesn't require a certain amount of hardware.
We have on-the-shelf offers, and we have custom-made offers. So depending on the project, depending on if we are talking to a center who is seeking for education only, or one who wants to open his room to the outside world to receive guidance, we can cover almost everything. So from the basic needs to the full complex ecosystem required by the user.
Can you talk to me a little bit about what the commercialization process looks like for Medinbox?
So at the beginning, we have created Medinbox to serve Clinic Pasteur and my company, Next Media Factory. And being in Clinic Pasteur gives us a huge exposure to the world. You have experts from all the world coming in Clinic Pasteur to watch cases. And from there, we are starting to spread the system all around, and our sales force is our customers. So we developed all the business during all those years with customers recommending us to other customers. And now we're in the process to develop that and to keep this sales force already in place, and to expand to a more traditional sales force to develop the business.
I'm sure many companies would want to understand how they could do what you guys are doing with just all this inbound business. What does sort of the future of Medinbox look like? Where are you taking the company? Could you give us a little more information about that sort of roadmap for you guys?
This is a very good transition with what I was explaining before about creating a library, case library, because this is important. So we are now running the company since 13 years. We have I don't have the numbers in mind, but I think it's billions of hours of procedures. And now the next step is what we can propose to the medical teams with all the data that they have, because the video means data at the end. And when we are watching a medical device, when we are watching technique, we have a lot of data. The real question is what can we do with the data, and what we can provide to the medical teams to help them to better take care of the patient, to be more efficient, to be able to analyze what they are doing every day, and be better in their performance, etc. So this is one point where we are working. We have a lot of options now, AI, become totally crazy. We can do almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of folks very excited in the team with ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
which will be very helpful
Okay.
with doctors. It's very easy to train the model
Mm-hmm.
and to get a result very fast. We are also working in VR. At the beginning, we had a lot of questions about VR, what we can do with VR, what can be interesting, what we can provide, and we have developed a couple of test programs in VR, and the results are very good. It's very interesting because you can, in an educational perspective, you can be immersed in the lab or in the OR, and as a second operator, you'll be in direct. You'll have a direct view on the table. You'll have a direct view on the medical equipment around you, and mixing VR technologies plus Medinbox technology, we can add the view of the VR camera and the view of the medical imaging, taking care of all the anonymization, all the confidentiality, and also, most important, the quality of the imaging.
So it sounds like you guys are really embracing this idea of the digital operating room, which I believe really started to take off a few years ago now, 2020, around the pandemic. You see a lot of players coming in with ideas to make the operating room smarter, more connected, bringing even the world together in some cases, as you guys are doing, to have doctors scrub in a way. There are now a lot of players in this space with similar technologies and complementary technologies. What sort of distinguishes Medinbox from the other players in this wider digital surgery market?
There's a couple of things, but what is interesting is to look what happens, really. We had multiple factors.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID was an important factor because before the COVID, we were already working on proctoring, on remote support. There's a real trend for the industry for the remote support and proctoring. And the reason is quite simple. It's cost effective. This is very important. The second question is about carbon impact. Today, it's becoming a reality, and the next generation of physicians will be ready in that. There's a real impact. Traveling is a real impact. So giving the option to have a view in a room and be able to do everything remote is really important. And before the COVID, we were just looking about pilot projects. So we used to work. We had a large footprint, a large base of installed customers, and we were discussing with the industry about creating pilots. So let's try to see. But the industry is not moving very fast, and the COVID did change everything because at one point it was the only option. So the centers who were able to continue to provide education were the ones who are using our technologies, or similar technologies,
Sure.
of course. And then the industry, they wanted to develop new therapies, and the only option for them to have a foot in an operating room or lab was to have a camera or an integrated system in order to see everything and to be able to give guidance remotely for all of them. So this was before COVID. During COVID, it was like that. And that after the COVID, everybody understood that this will be the future.
So it sounds to me like COVID really created an awareness for the need for a technology that brings people into the OR, or is there still sort of a awareness gap that you guys have to help them cross in order to adopt?
No, the awareness now is here. And when you are discussing with a physician or when you are discussing with the hospital administration, they are totally aware that they should have some way in the lab or in the OR to give external access. So this is this is quite clear. The question is how to have everything structured, because the real problem for the hospitals is when the the data is going out unstructured. I mean, what is the competition today? We have, of course, competitors running in the same area.
Even at this event today.
Even at this event today. But we all have one of our competitor in the pocket. Not me, because I left my phone on the table, but a lot of people are using what is available, like Messenger or WhatsApp, to transmit images in an unstructured way. That means with the patient names to everybody, and there's a lot of stories like that. And the objective for the hospital will be to stop that at one point, to say, okay, we have to give you a tool in order to stop using WhatsApp, using Messenger, and it's a reality. And we had some experience with a few centers outside of, so we are from France, and we have a couple of islands in the Caribbean or in the Indian Ocean. And we used to work with a team in the Indian Ocean, and at the beginning, when they started to work on the integration of the video in their lab, they went to the hospital administration with a couple of slides about what they are doing today. And it was all about WhatsApp. They said, this is what we are doing.
Wow.
And we are sure that you don't want us to do that.
Right.
So give us the correct tool to, in order to be able to do that.
So they're demanding your product in this case.
Very demanding, yes.
That's a fantastic situation to be in. What brings you to LSI this year? Tell us about what you're hoping to achieve, who you're hoping to meet, and what you're hoping to get out of this experience.
We are looking, of course, for partnerships. Partnerships is key because most of this business is led by the industry, and we are seeking for partners. So we have developed a major partnership. It will be announced in the upcoming days with one of the big names in the medical device industry, and we want to develop same partnerships with other players. And we also here to find some money to accelerate the business. Today we don't have a sales department at Medinbox, and we are in the process to develop that. So we want to expand, so to develop the sales and expand the sales to another level.
Well, that's fascinating. Are you guys potentially planning to be joining us in Barcelona later this year?
Of course, Barcelona is a 3-hour drive from Toulouse, and it's a great city, and the venue is amazing. And,
I've never been, so I'm excited. I hope to see you guys there. Nicolas, thank you so much for joining me in the studio.